What's going on, everyone? Happy Saturday to everyone. Hopefully, everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for another edition of staffing shortages for the month of October. Starting off in this video, we will first take a look at the U.S. jobs report. Then we're going to take a look at different places that are seeing staffing shortages, not only in the U.S., in Canada, and I believe we have a couple things for Europe as well in this edition. Starting off in the month of September, the United States added 336,000 new jobs, and the unemployment rate was unchanged at 3.8%, which that's something that the White House has been touting as a good thing, but hey, it's not dropping anymore. It's now unchanged, so we're not seeing as much growth as we were. And let's just get right into it. First off, in Alabama, 3 maternity units are closing due to staffing shortages. That's not a good thing. Then we come over to a big one here. Let's just go right into a big one. Healthcare workforce under strain as 145,000 leave the industry since the start of the COVID pandemic. I mean, it's understandable at this point. There has been wave after wave of COVID that has been ongoing since 2020. The first couple cases of COVID in the world were in 2019, as after all, this is called COVID-19. And yes, I mean, these physicians, these doctors, nurses, people that work in emergency departments have seen wave after wave. I see on social media some reporting, yet again, I come into work, the emergency department is already full at 7 a.m. I mean, this is a real problem that is ongoing, and after dealing with this since 2020, it is now 2023, there is only so much they can take, and some of them are either retiring early, or looking for another profession as burnout is real in the healthcare industry. More on the healthcare industry as we go along. Staffing shortages led to decision to close Waldo Borough branch of Rockland Savings Bank. So this bank here, I'm assuming it's the one you see in the picture, as the sign does say Rockland Savings Bank. They don't have enough staff, so they have to close, and it will be shutting down on December 22nd. Kirkpatrick, severe staffing shortages has property crime victims waiting long times for response. Yikes, that's not a good thing. Moving on to this. A third of nurses report witnessing patients die due to staffing shortages. New global survey finds. Yikes, so it's so understaffed in the nursing departments of hospitals that they're witnessing patients just die because no one's attending to them. Yikes, that's really bad. Moving on to this. Missouri DOT, shortage of snowplow drivers continues for 4th straight year. Yikes, and that's not a good thing because if anyone follows meteorology, I do, it's an El Nino year, which means things could get rather interesting and they could see some wintry events such as snow, ice, sleet. Yikes, not a good time for a staffing shortage for that. Moving on to this. Staffing shortages force England's prisons into emergency red measures. That means that it's critical and it's a really dire situation. So that's not good either. Navigating a crisis. BC ferries grapple with staffing shortages. So ferries in British Columbia, they're unable to operate normally or on schedule because they're dealing with severe staffing shortages. And I think that's something we reported on before in a previous staffing shortage. If someone wants to go back and find out, by all means do so. But this is something that continues to be a problem up in British Columbia. Chicago Transit Authority unveils $2 billion plan to revamp services and address staffing shortages. So, yes, they're having problems with the Metro Transit. You know, the mass transit system up in Chicago is dealing with staff shortages. Worker shortage. Staffing mandates put nursing homes at risk. Yes, nursing homes are struggling to stay afloat amid worker shortages and staffing mandates, a survey shows. Mechanicsburg-based leading HPA, this is in Pennsylvania, said its latest survey shows nursing homes continue to struggle to fill shifts despite wage increases causing them to close beds to people who need long-term care. Yes, this is a real problem. I mean, a lot of our baby boomers now are getting into the age where they may need nursing care. I've heard instances where people, maybe their late 50s, early 60s, in long-term care facilities. It's something. And there's overcrowding ongoing. The number of people that work in these homes per patient ratio, it's really bad. It's a multi-problem issue. Not only do you have a higher number of patient volume, you have less staff. So yeah, again, another situation where staffing burnout is becoming an issue, and the pandemic, it really pushed this to a brand new level that was not seen before. Moving on to this. Navy region, Mid-Atlantic faces critical staffing shortages, looks to hire 300 civilian police officers. The former age limit for new hires, 21, has been dropped to 18 years old. That's not something that you would ever expect to see. It says Norfolk, Virginia. Police departments across the country are facing severe staffing shortages as they struggle to recruit and retain officers. The United States Navy is no different. There are dozens of vacancies at bases in Hampton Roads, 300 across the Mid-Atlantic region, and the Navy is ready to hire on the spot. Alrighty, moving on now. USPS, struggling to deliver mail. Staffing shortages, workplace rules blamed. So yikes, the United States Postal Service is having problems with staffing shortages as well. And I can tell you for a fact, I have heard stories about packages just sitting in postal offices for long periods of time, not getting delivered because they simply have no one to either sort it or deliver it. So this is a problem going on with the Postal Service as well. Nelson County schools closed again as more staff call out over possible merger. Yikes, looks like they're having problems in Nelson County, Kentucky. For the second day in a row, Nelson County schools will not be in session due to staffing shortages. It just continues on. But I will say this, we're not seeing as many news stories, or at least I didn't find as many news stories stating that there is a teacher shortage at schools this go around, but nonetheless, it's still out there. You know the deal. Class sizes are probably totally ridiculous. Well, we only have X amount of teachers for sixth grade. We only have 2 teachers for 6th grade. We better do 35 to 40 students. It happens. It's real. Arizona Superintendent Tom Hoan unveils plan to address school resource officer shortage. So here's something in relation to schools. And it sounds like Phoenix, Arizona Superintendent of Public Instruction Tom Hoan laid out a plan this week to address staffing shortages that have made filling school resource officer positions difficult. That's not good because, when you're talking about behavioral issues in classrooms, or maybe someone's having problems going on in home, the school resource officer comes into play for that, and when they don't have enough officers for that, yikes, yeah, it can make the teacher-student situation a little bit challenging because they don't know what's going on at home, or maybe there's a discipline issue in school. So yeah, Hamilton Hospital struggles with overcrowding and staffing shortages. Well, let's see, overcrowding, COVID pandemic still going on. Maybe that's part of the issue. Staffing shortages, burnout, not enough people wanting to enter the healthcare industry now. I mean, we've only been dealing with this for 3 years. And finally, I will end on this one right here. And let's refresh this. Minnesota. There's a Minnesota ambulance service. They could lose their license because they are not getting enough volunteers to sign up to become an EMT or an EMS driver, to respond to ambulance calls. It's not just happening in Minnesota. It's happening in many different places all around the country. In conclusion to this month's staffing shortages, you may see the White House say, hey, we're growing jobs. You may see a local congressman, senator, mayor, whoever report that, hey, jobs are on the increase in the area. Let's face it, staffing shortages are real. There have been several news stories over the past month or so about prison breaks, where inmates are escaping because of being understaffed at jails. Staffing shortages are a real problem all across the country, especially in the health care industry. If you do not have enough nurses or doctors to attend to patients in the hospital, unfortunately, like you saw around the world, um, people who work in hospitals are reporting that they are witnessing patients die because they're not getting the proper care. This is an issue that we need to address. We need to stop patting ourselves on the back saying, hey, we're doing good, we're growing the job industry, and really face the real problem at hand, that there are many industries that need help and do not have enough workers, and they are facing staff being burnout because the workload is just far too high. Alrighty, that does it for this edition of Staffing Shortages. I'm sure we'll have another edition again next month, as we'll find more places that are dealing with lack of staff and not enough help to deal with the workload. I will see you all again next time. Until I see you again next time, stay safe, everyone. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button down below. If you know anyone that needs to see this video, by all means, share this with them. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. See you all again next time. Thanks for watching.